right, friends, welcome. We are on episode number 14 of the CrossFit Grandview podcast. Today we got a good one coming up. We're talking about the programming at CrossFit Grandview and Grandview Barbell. We're going to help you guys wrap your head around why we do what we do, and from kind of a coach's standpoint and a member standpoint, why it's conducive for us. Yeah. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is our bread and butter. This is our all levels class, and from here I'm going to let our owner and programmer, Brandon Cowden, kind of lead us off.
Cool. Yeah, this is our flagship program. This is the program that feeds all the other ones. This is what you started in back in 2012.
Yeah.
So yeah, our all levels program, and this is the one that feeds the comp program, that level 2, Power Hour and Rev. So almost everyone who started in any of our programs, they start in that CrossFit all levels program. Mm-hmm. That program started. If I had to have it was born in December of 2009. I'd actually done a little programming before that at the gym that I worked at before, starting back in 2007. The way we did it there was we actually alternated weeks. So it was like me and 2 other coaches. So I do a week, they do a week.
Oh, programming?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And it was vastly different.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, so it was like...
no continuity there.
No. It was fun, but it was like, yes. So it was like, each week felt like a totally different gym. And that's how we did it then. And then, in December of 2009, basically I would say that's when we started like the all level program. And it was, back then it was called Rogue, and now we're CrossFit Grandview. But that's where it all kind of started. And throughout the years, it's changed and evolved, and we've tried different things, and then back then, what was really big, so right around that December of 2009, and I think it actually started in 2008, was CrossFit football, and then an article came out called Strength Bias from Jeff Martin for CrossFit. And what we started to figure out, and at the time, so the 2008 games had just happened, and the 2008 games, and then even our 2009 regional, all the events were sub 7 minutes. Most were sub 5. Explosive, fast, sprint workouts. The loading was heavy-ish in all of the workouts. So basically it was a barbell repping contest with some basic gymnastic moves.
Right.
And 21-15-9, or 5 sets of, or 5 rounds of 5 and 10, 5 deadlifts, 10 burpees. That was the style of workout that we were competing in. And so what you quickly figured out was, if you would bias your training towards that, you got better at that fast.
Yeah.
So if you got stronger with the barbell, you got better at that type of workout really quick. If you put 50 pounds on your deadlift or 30 pounds on your squat,
makes all those workouts just that much easier.
You're cutting minutes off of them.
Absolutely.
Quick. And you're like, oh, this is the way to get better at this. This is how you get better at CrossFit. And, at the time, kind of leading into that, myself and then my partner at the time, Graham, we were doing a lot of main site training and things like that. But we figured, we started to get more and more into this strength bias style of training, and I actually did the template of that first strength bias, and it was great. I got a lot stronger. The thruster on Fran felt lighter. I got some big gains, and what we started to do is implement that style of training into our group classes, and it worked well. People enjoyed it. You could see the barbell numbers creeping up, and people really liked that. But what would always happen, and what would kind of happen, is after a while it got redundant. So with any of those, after about 6 weeks, you were burnt. You're
just hammering lifts all the time.
You did a whole. How long did you do starting strength? I remember, right? It was another big thing in your development early on when you started CrossFit.
Man, I ran that cycle for, I want to say 12 weeks of just bench, squat, deadlift, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
And it worked really well, but
would you put about 100 pounds on your back squat?
Yeah. It worked really well.
I remember you right around 275, and then seeing you Like I had like 365 doing it for like 5 reps or something.
And I was like, oh, cool, fitness.
I've never seen anyone jump up on a squat like that.
It was awesome.
It was
I couldn't believe it either.
This dude's going to be good.
But like you said, man, like just day in and day out. And like one of the aspects of CrossFit, constantly varied, and you lose that with that kind of programming because it's just like, okay, it's Monday, I'm doing a 5x5 on my back squat,
Yeah.
And that was definitely not as fun as just...
Other movements really get clunky and they gash you out and like you don't feel
I forgot how to breathe hard for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of like basically just going back, like what we figured out, there was a lot of pros to the strength bias, especially as far as competing. So it's like you figured out, you got fit and in shape, and then a big limiting factor when you haven't been lifting weights really aggressively, maybe going into CrossFit, or almost no one lifts weights the way you need to compete in CrossFit leading into it. Like even if you're lifting at a gym, you're not Olympic lifting and like really getting like the squat and deadlift and all that stuff. Like you're not climbing numbers. You're just trying to make your muscles bigger.
Bingo.
You're bodybuilding. So you start to figure out, you're like, hey, if I do this, like your performance on comp style workouts improves fast. So it really helps. So some of the pros to a strength bias programming is it's really addicting to see like that number.
Your number just creep up every week.
Your progress is easy to track. Like it's a little harder to notice like, oh, I'm in better shape. It's easy to like say, oh yeah, I mean, you put more weight on the bar, like that's a PR. It's fun to hit PRs. It builds an explosive and strong athlete. And it seems like the best of both worlds. Like you're like, hey, I'm doing strength. I get that little burner, so I'm not like, I'm not just this totally out of shape like strong guy. I get that little burn. I'm getting my heart rate up. I have some muscular endurance, so it seems like, hey, we're a strength and conditioning gym. We're doing both every time we train. So every time we work out, we're doing strength, focused strength. So we're putting our focus on getting that barbell weight up, and then we're making sure that we're not completely getting out of shape. But what I saw over time was there were actually a lot of drawbacks to it. And they're subtle. You don't even see it when you're in it, and clients don't even see it when they're doing it.
Gotta take that step back and kind of reevaluate. And we did that shift.
Yeah. So we made the shift. I made the shift over time, actually, probably back around like 15 or 16, but totally made the shift in 2017, early, like January or late 2016, to like I would officially brand like our style of CrossFit like a GPP based CrossFit. Not that we don't do strength based workouts like we're going to do tomorrow, or we did several of them last week where we did a strength and a WOD. We still do utilize those, but it's not a daily thing. We don't do that every day because some of the cons we started running into. So a major drawback was running strength cycles in a large group. We have a big gym, a lot of members. If people don't come, Monday through Friday, on those days, they miss, I work a 12 every Monday, like you miss squat, the squat day. So you're always missing the squat day in the cycle. Or if you miss a day in the cycle, you're trying to make it up or whatever it is. It's a challenge when people run in different schedules, or when we have a new member start, like, hey,
all right, this is week 6. We're doing our 72.5% for 7 reps.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know what any of those numbers mean.
So, they're jumping in on that, and it's we can kind of make it work, but it's less than ideal.
Yeah.
Another drawback is, what I was seeing is it overloaded a lot of athletes. So if all of your focus isn't on CrossFit, if you're not sitting there, mobilizing and, getting your 8 or 9 hours of sleep, and all your focus isn't on that. A lot of these guys, they literally physically could only come in two or three times a week.
Yeah. They were just too sore.
Yeah, and I see this at a lot of affiliates that run this. And you're like, I can only go in like 2 or 3 days a week. I'm just blasted from doing that. And then they were getting hurt. People were getting hurt. It wasn't even specific acute injuries. It was just like my knees are just, they're hurt. And I was getting we're getting injury cancellations from like knees, shoulders, and back, pretty consistently. More just overuse. And I would say more than a triple, maybe a 5x rate than we have now.
Oh, probably even more than that.
Yeah. I mean, I rarely get injury cancellations ever now. And it was pretty common, my knees just can't take CrossFit, It's like, well, they can, but they might not be able to take
a gratuitous volume of
a full back squat, strength before, a thruster pull-up WOD, every other day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the cadence of the workouts gets very boring very fast. You do a strength and a workout and, you hit your percentages, and then it's like you go through that cycle and then it kind of restarts a different cycle. And it's like, it starts to feel pretty redundant pretty fast. I mean, 3-4 months in, it's like, it's hard to stay in it. You feel like you want to change. It's almost like, I want to try a different kind of workout. And CrossFit shouldn't feel like that, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah. It was just like, okay, we got to squat, we're going to do, and like from the coach's standpoint, you're like, okay, I've got this much time to do this, and then, all right, we only have 15 minutes left in the class. This is a 12-minute workout. We're snatching. Guys, rip the bar above your head, load it up. We got to start this now.
Yeah.
It really limited the amount of coaching you could do. You kind of just became like a facilitator.
Yes. A facilitator of programming.
Yeah.
You're just pushing people through a car wash.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
This fast, you couldn't really coach. You were just, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this.
Yeah, there was no, like listen to Andy coach now. He breaks things down in these, very, simple things because he has time. A lot of people get a lot of things from that, Whereas when we got to talk about a back squat, we got to talk about, power cleans and some other things. You just don't have time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're learning how to move better. You can buy, honestly, you can buy programming online.
Yeah.
You can follow that and execute that at LA Fitness.
Absolutely. Yeah. But you're coming here to get coached.
Yeah. You want to get coached. You want to learn something in that class. You want to get some education. You want to have some fun. And it allows us to have more fun in class. So we can do a full warm up. We can do workouts now that they're longer. So that was the big thing. You're limited to 7 to 12 minute workouts pretty consistently. If you're going to run everyone through that now, I mean, it's easy. We can do 25-minute WODs in class. People are getting in shape. They can move for longer. It opened up an ocean of options. Yeah. And then the last con is conditioning suffers. So a lot of people are like, well, I can get my conditioning in a few weeks. It's not a big deal. Yeah, not totally. You need to build that conditioning over time. And then a lot of it is just it's conditioning to the volume of reps in certain workouts. So when you don't have to worry about that full strength set, you can throw, workouts that have 100 burpees throughout the workout in it. And you can build stamina and conditioning in that where you just will never have time to do that.
If you're running a strength piece before the Metcon, like you said, you're limited to 7 to 12 minutes. Okay, what can I get done in 7 to 12 minutes as a coach's standpoint and programming-wise? Maybe that's one time on the bike into something else.
Yeah.
Now we have people coming back and repeating intervals on the bike when we do, like yesterday, for example. Yeah. And that's where you really start to develop fitness.
Yep. And then I have a quick story, so I remember doing a strength bias type program, and then I did Angie, which is 100. I'm like, I need a longer workout. I'm feeling like I'm getting out of shape. So 100 pull-ups 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats. And so I get into the pull-ups. I have a big first explosive set. I rip off a bunch of pull-ups, and then, by the end of it, I'm just chipping away, and I'm like, it's not going well. And I think I got like a mild case of rhabdo because I wasn't conditioned for that workout, because I had just been doing low rep strength and little burners, 7 to 10 minutes. My arms were sore for 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
3 straight weeks, like I couldn't like straighten my arms.
Definitely
and things
rhabdo.
like that. Yeah. Yeah. And then I did, I remember around the same time, I did a competition at Hyperfit. So it was an individual competition back when they still used to do those, like on like a local level. And just had a workout that just stretched me out. And like I was good on the short explosive stuff because that's what I've been training. And I just had one that stretched me out. I could not execute on it. Like I was just like, I've not stretched out like this. I've stayed in this comfort zone of like leaning on weights and like gymnastic skill. And I had to like do a bunch of burpees and row, and it was just like
Folding in half.
Yeah, it crushed me. And that was like a light bulb kind of went off. Like you can't trick. You can't. There's not like a trick to this.
Nope.
Like you've got to work, and you've got to be in condition.
Yeah. The trick is do it.
Yeah, you can't like trick it. And so that's when, and I wouldn't say like that's when, but all this stuff like over years started to just kind of like pile up. And then me and Dan went up to Ben Bergeron's gym, CrossFit New England, and he had made a similar shift. I think the year before we had gone up there.
Yeah.
And it like made sense. It's like, okay. And I'm like, I think we're ready to make a similar shift. So what it kind of looks like, so what our training looks like, it's GPP based. That being said, this isn't just random, like, hey, we just kind of throw random workouts up and we try and hit everything. That's not it at all. So the thought process behind it, so when I look at a week, we're going to do 2 or 3 mixed modal workouts, either couplets or triplets. It's what I kind of try and keep them to. So normally you'll see like the less movements that there are in a workout, the harder that workout's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
So if anyone remembers just the thrusters like a week or 2 ago.
Terrible.
That was hard.
No one forgot that.
Yeah. 1 or 2 heavy lifting days, so strength bias days. So 1 or 2 of those in a 7-day week, not 5. 1 day without a barbell. So using your own body weight, running, rowers, bikes, things like that. And then 1 benchmark workout to keep testing and checking. And I've actually been trying to do that more in our like daily programming, looking back at what we did last year, if you've noticed.
Oh, yeah.
So like looking back at last year, 2017, and then saying, hey, we did this on this date. And then people are going back and they're
like, hey, what
cool.
did I do? Oh, cool.
So it's been cool to like, I'm trying to test a lot more often now, so people have a good handle on where they're at.
Yeah. So yeah, we made that shift from, like you said, the strength bias to this GPP. So now we'll talk about kind of like what does GPP entail, and like why is it good for us?
Yeah. So it's a better class experience. So rather than, like we said, just flushing you through a car wash, we can do a proper warm up. We can coach and teach the movement. By the time you get into the workout, you're ready to rock and roll, like 100%. You don't have to get to class a half hour early to warm up before class. Like when you get to class, you get that workout in, like you're ready to work out when you get to that workout. More dynamic programming. So that's what I've loved about it the most, and just participating in it, because that's what I do for training for the most part. I just do our all levels training almost every day. Longer Metcons, we utilize sleds, bikes, rowers, the sandbags, a lot of odd objects. So I never get bored anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's fun. Every day is so different that you don't get used to that like same like lift and WOD cadence. It keeps you engaged. So every day is like a lot different, and it keeps your body guessing. And kind of leading into the next thing, I was thinking, you get better recovery, a lot less overuse injuries from hitting the same movement patterns over and over again, And this allows you to train more often. So like I was talking about earlier, people are, I'm coming in 2 or 3 days a week. I've seen people who are doing that. Now they can come in 4 to 6 days a week and they feel fresh. They feel good. When you train more often too, it leads to definitely better body composition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if you're getting your metabolism all revved up, every day, rather than 2 or 3 days a week and then trying to just like lay around and recover, your body comp is better. People are normally leaner. They sleep better. And then their diet is better. So when people are working out and they have that training session hanging over their head, they tend to just eat better rather than like if they're in recovery mode, like eating that big Chipotle burrito at lunch, knowing that you're not training in the afternoon. It's a lot easier to make that decision.
Yeah, if you're like, okay, I gotta go to the gym later, I'm not gonna eat, like you said, giant Chipotle or, go out for pizza. You're like, okay, I'm gonna eat something healthy because I don't want to feel like absolute crap. And that's just a domino effect of positivity that just leads to, like you said, overall body composition.
Yeah, and we do, there is a lot of thought into the strength too, and I'll just dive into that real quick. So if you notice this, so just try and pick up on this pattern. What I typically do, and my thought is almost like it's like a really, really simplified conjugate program where I rotate the strengths, but you're going to see normally a max effort-ish strength. So building to like a 3 rep, sometimes a heavy single or like a 5 rep. So I tend to stay away from the heavy singles, but 3 and 5 reps, building to that, and then what you're going to see is it applied into a workout the next week, oftentimes with weight that ascends. So let's say we built to a heavy triple on a deadlift, did a little accessory work on a Wednesday. On Monday, you're going to see a workout that might be 3 of those 4-minute AMRAPs with a row buy-in, burpees, and then deadlifts at like 185 on round 1, 225 on round 2, and then 275 on round 3. So we're applying that strength that we worked on the week before to the following week. And so that's kind of how the strength rotates. It's just not deadlift every Monday.
Exactly. Yeah, you just won't see, like, unless, like you said, like if you can pick up on that pattern, you won't really notice that. But there is, like I tell people, like, we put a lot of thought into these workouts. It might look arbitrary and things like that, but there is 100% a method to this madness.
So I'm trying to set people up for success in that WOD. So like, hey, we hit a heavy deadlift, we grease the groove on it. That skill should feel strong and solid. Now we're going to test it in a more dynamic fashion. And that's how I tend to do it week to week. So that's kind of the thought behind
the all levels.
The all levels class. If you guys have any questions or concerns or thoughts on it, like, toss it up in the comments. Shoot me an email. I'm really open to discussing this. I can geek out on it. Like I was telling Joey before we started, just for time's sake, we're gonna kind of move on. But I could talk about this for like 2 hours.
There's a lot. I mean, just like CrossFit in these workouts, the combinations are endless. You could talk about it forever. But what we're gonna move into next is if you have like other specific goals, we have kind of things tailored towards you and helping you hit those goals. So the next one we're going to look at real quick is the level 2 program.
So just like Joey was saying, like, so hey, you've done this for a while and you want to dive into something specific or you want to get stronger or whatever it is, we have other programs for it. So the level 2 is our games training program. And so the intent of that program is to prepare athletes to compete in CrossFit or mixed modal fitness competitions, whatever it may be. So how we do that in the level 2 program, so my philosophy is we're gonna build skill, strength, and capacity in the movements you're most likely to see in those competitions. So we're gonna do this through rotating strength cycles in Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting. We're consistently gonna do gymnastics skill practice to build not only just skill, but also stamina and volume and things like muscle ups and handstand push-ups. And then we're going to do intervals sometimes after workouts to build that conditioning, and so you can keep moving at a really high heart rate. And then, of course, we're always doing WODs and mixed modal work. What I've typically done is used the CrossFit game season to kind of plan the training around. So I use the Open as sort of our game season, and then in the past, like, we've had regionals and things like that. We've had teams make it. We plan that training around, going to regionals or going to the games. It's changing a little bit now because the year's different. This year was pretty traditional. We did the Open the same time of year. Going into this next year, you'll probably see the training shift a little bit, just because we'll be kind of getting teed up for the Open in the fall, and then kind of rebuilding from there. And then we'll have athletes doing sanctionals and things like that. So we'll have to kind of tweak the knobs a little bit, and we're still learning what this new game season looks like.
Like no one really knows how to attack the year yet.
Yeah.
It being year one, but just like I did with all levels, I transitioned to the level 2 programming.
Yep.
It worked amazing for me. I did all that. Man, we went to the games in 2015. I did that
regionals
up until
in
2016.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
And then after that, I kind of had some more individual goals.
Yep.
And I just had giant holes in my game that I had to kind of fill.
Yep.
So I kind of went a different route. But I mean, look at the guys in level 2. We got guys getting ready to compete in the Netherlands, and
yeah,
it's something to be said about that stuff. And doing that in a group setting, man, it is.
Yeah, I would say, and what really impressed me was in the Open. So that we just wrapped up the Open. We had some massive improvements from like Anthony Rizzo.
Oh man,
great example.
Oh.
I saw a picture, and I actually posted it to our Instagram feed. His improvement was insane. It was like from 35,000th in the world to 5 or 6,000th. He's probably in the 97th percentile of people.
Yeah.
Now. Nick Finelli is another one who worked that program straight through the entire year. Jenna Spenlow.
Yeah, she had a huge improvement.
She did it. She got into that level 2 program. So the people who did the level 2 program and executed on it consistently made these massive improvements from years before. And it was so fun to watch it because they were just cranking out muscle ups, and cranking out handstand push-ups and hitting those big lifts tired. And it was like, okay, it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, it's validating.
It really worked. And then Corey Spellman's a phenomenal example. He stayed healthy this year, and it bums me out there isn't a regional because he would have made it.
I know.
He would have made a top 20 regional. He's around 150th in the world, I think, last time I checked.
Killed it.
He would have made a regional.
Yeah.
He had world-class times on
that last workout, he was
8 and some change.
Yeah, he was top 20 in the world on that workout.
Yeah.
I was like, jeez.
In the first workout too. Not a tall guy.
He just showed up.
He crushed it. Mm-hmm. So he's a phenomenal example of how that program works when it's worked consistently.
Yeah.
And then other programs we have at our satellite gym. So we have a satellite gym, which is an amazing small private gym that you can geek out, work on strengths and different things, and true form running and
lat pull down machine.
Yeah.
We have all the cool stuff over there.
We've got 10 different types of bars.
Yeah. Football bars, camber bars.
C2 bikes.
Yeah, Concept 2 bikes. Treadmills at incline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great training facility.
I'm getting a boxing setup there.
Yeah,
maybe
boxing.
Selfishly.
Something to do.
Private showers, things like that. It's a cool spot, and it's getting really cool, and we also have really cool small, almost boutique programs there that that I'm really proud of.
So
you used to coach both of them.
Yeah, I'm coaching them now. Like while Dan's in Ireland, I'm coaching that morning Rev class and that Power Hour. We got 2 over there. The Rev program is what we'll talk about first.
Yep.
So think of like CrossFit, but without barbells.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of like a scaled back version of CrossFit. You're still doing like Metcon type stuff, but it's dialed more towards, I'd say, building like your aerobic capacity, longer endurance type workouts.
Yep.
So you're going to see, a lot of intervals on bikes, on rowers, on treadmills in those combinations. I love it. I love coaching that class. It's fun. It's just like an hour of just sweating and working on that aerobic capacity pace. It's low stress too, which I think is important. None of those workouts are scored. We don't care about the clock other than like telling you how long to work, really, which I think for a lot of people is a weight lifted off their shoulders. Some people kind of get stressed out with like playing that leaderboard game and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you don't want to be competitive, it's a great class for you, and it's also not. Let's say some other group fitness classes you might, especially if you liked CrossFit or you like CrossFit, and you go to some other classes and you're like, man, I'm snatching I've been to like classes like that, and they have me snatching like a 25-pound dumbbell.
Yeah. You're like,
or swinging like the heaviest kettlebell is like a 35, and I'm doing Russian swings with it, and I'm like, I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm wasting time here. And like the cardio aspect's cool, but I'm like, I'm just kind of wasting time on the floor.
Yeah.
Like the floor exercises will load you up on those. Like you can go heavy, and you can do double front rack squats with like kettlebells and things like that. It's just, we take the skilled aspect. You don't have a barbell. You're not Olympic lifting. You're not doing any hanging gymnastic skills or anything like that. So
yeah, it's really cool. You can kind of customize that workout. For what you need.
It's good if you have injuries too.
Oh yeah.
So if you've tweaked your back, knees, shoulders, like it's a phenomenal way to like
keep moving,
keep in shape, and like really work around any little tweaks.
Yeah. So those classes are every afternoon, right? Not Fridays though.
Yeah, 5:30 p.m. and then 6
a.m.
6 a.m. and
Monday,
then
Wednesday,
Friday, and then Saturday at 8 and 9:30.
Yep. So those are the Rev classes.
Yep.
The other one we have over there is the exact opposite of Rev.
Power Hour.
It's Power Hour.
Yeah.
So instead of worrying about aerobic capacity, this is as strength bias as strength bias can get.
Yep.
This is literally just working on bench, squat, deadlift, and so on.
So I just got back from Power Hour. I was there, and we're here shooting this right after I just got done. So I love that class. So Power Hour is a conjugate system class. So what that means is conjugate is a constant rotation of exercises to accomplish a physical goal, which in this case is going to be increasing our barbell lifts and the slow lifts and the squat, deadlift, and bench primarily. It's a West Side barbell system, so it's a combination of max effort days and dynamic effort days. And what we're doing here is we're training strength at all different speeds. So we're training like explosive speed strength. We're training like slower, more grinding strength, and so we train it at all these different speeds. The schedule of the training is Mondays. It's a max effort lower day. So we're gonna do a heavy variation of a lift, whether it's like a pulling lift, like a deadlift type lift, whether it's sumo or conventional stance or a squat. Typically with a little bit lower volume but higher intensity, so we're lifting heavy. Same type of thing applied to upper body lifts on Wednesday.
Yep. Max effort upper.
Yes. So lower volume, higher intensity. And then Friday, it's dynamic effort, lower body. So we're going to do lots of reps. We'll do a lot of stuff for speed, but higher volume, more of a moderate intensity. And then Saturday is that same thing applied to upper body, what you would call like a big pump day.
Yeah.
So
those days are fun.
Yeah, lots of reps, You come out of there with your muscles all swollen up,
Shirt's feeling a little tighter.
Yeah. So that's the way that works, and this is a phenomenal class, I think, especially coming off like something like the Open.
Yeah.
If you want to switch gears a little bit, hey, I want to build strength for a little while. That's what I'm personally doing. So after melting my face off and feeling like I'm like bleeding out of my chest 5 weeks in a row, I like to switch it up, go over there, build my strength up, feel really strong and solid. Also, what I love about it is all the accessory exercises. So we do tons of like hamstring work and shoulders and like, arms and things that, they get neglected maybe in some of the compound movements in CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
And I come in feeling really durable and a lot more solid, and I move better when I come back into CrossFit. So I like to do it in like 6-week runs. I'll typically do a couple of those a year, and I come back feeling really fresh in CrossFit and ready to rock and roll. And then I have a lot more like intensity for CrossFit for months after it, because I'm into it again. I'm not getting burnt out.
I think you need that little decompression for a second.
Yeah.
Helps. And speaking of, training and things like this, Power Hour is a great option if you have seen the flyers for our powerlifting meet.
Yes.
So, May 11th.
May 11th, yeah.
Yes, 11th at CrossFit Grandview.
Yeah.
We are going to hold our first powerlifting meet. All right, This thing will kick off at 9 a.m. You can come before. I think you should come before and kind of get warmed up and stuff. But lifting will start at 9 a.m. This is free to enter, free to come watch. And what we're trying to do is just let people kind of showcase their strength, right?
Yeah, so it's open to all CrossFit members, all barbell members. It's a cool way to bring both gyms together.
Yep.
So I'm really excited to do that. What I'm actually doing with the CrossFit programming, you're going to see some of the strength stuff is going to be a little more biased towards getting us kind of prepared for this powerlifting meet. So a couple times a week you'll see a back squat or a bench or a deadlift in a strength set. So for people who are doing CrossFit and they want to do this, they'll be a little more prepared for that through the programming I'm doing right now for CrossFit. And then the Power Hour people get to come over and show us what they've been working on.
Yeah.
And it's going to bring both gyms together. It's going to be a really fun event. We're going to cancel all our classes that Saturday, but what we're also going to do is open up 4 Rev classes, open to anyone. So if you were like, hey, I have no interest in doing this,
You're going to head on over to Rev.
Yeah, you can try Rev out and go check out the other gym as well. And the way you'll sign up for that, we'll have a sheet, just like we do a lot of these competitions and things. We'll have that sheet in the pro shop. We'll start running people through it at 9. We will definitely have a dialed in schedule and everything, so you'll know when you're lifting as that gets closer. So we have a new coach, Aaron Bowman, who's helping us set up all of that, and he's really like geeking out on diving into all of it. And even if you don't want to participate, we'll need some volunteers to help like load and unload weights and do things like that. And afterwards, we'll probably have like an informal little gathering and go out and have lunch or go to a bar or something. I might buy some drinks for everyone and just kind of have a good time that way. So I'm excited to have that kind of after the Open. It's something to look towards, and it's not a real high stress event.
Not at all.
You're going to go in, have fun, hit some lifts, and then if it's something you enjoy, come check out Power Hour. Yeah.
So no experience needed if you've never done a lifting meet in your life. It doesn't matter. We'll walk you through the whole thing. It's open to everyone. Yep. It's free. We're going to have some prizes. So come on over May 11th.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I want to make it an annual thing. We used to do like a rogue total every year, and I think this will kind of replace that, and this will be really cool. So.
Cool. All right, friends, that was episode number 14 of the CrossFit Grandview podcast. Questions, concerns, anything about the programming, Brandon at CrossFitGrandview.com. Shoot him an email, and we'll get back to you. See you guys next time.
See you guys.
Thanks.